I got to see Dillon Gabriel tomorrow. And if we don't get to see Dillon Gabriel, like, again, I think the trust for this franchise is at an all-time low while we've been on it.
The Cleveland Browns are knee-deep in a quarterback mess that no one seems to want to figure out. And it's playing out right in front of our eyes. One QB can't stay healthy, one can't complete a pass, and the one everyone wants to see, he's walking around in pads, injured, but still stealing the spotlight. The coach doesn't have answers. Some fans think they know who the guy is, but the numbers aren't backing anyone up. Whispers in the locker room, confusion at practice, and a viral boombox moment that sparked nationwide controversy. This isn't just a battle for QB1. It might be one of the most chaotic evaluations the Browns have ever had.
The Browns signaled loud and clear that winning this year is not the priority. They're taking the long-term view of this. It seems highly likely that they would draft a quarterback high in next year's draft, which is all the more reason to find out exactly what you have in Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders this year.
Between Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, and Tyler Huntley, what was supposed to be a routine preseason has turned into a quarterback carousel with no breaks. And if you think it's just about what happens on the field, you're not seeing the full picture. Because behind the scenes, something much bigger is unfolding. And it might just expose the Browns' internal battle between control and culture. It wasn't just a rough day for Dillon Gabriel. It was brutal. 6 completions on 19 attempts. That's 31%. And no, that's not a typo. He missed 13 throws on less than 20 attempts. And while he managed 2 touchdowns, the inconsistency was impossible to ignore. And it wasn't a one-off. The day before, 1 for 5. That's not just bad, that's concerning.
And then they take Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round. It's a questionable pick in the 3rd round. I know that there's been some reports to buoy it up over the last couple of days where, teams tried to trade for him. So
meanwhile, Joe Flacco, at age 40, threw 2 touchdowns in a limited set, and Tyler Huntley didn't even get snaps. Fans couldn't tell whether the Browns were making strategic decisions or just throwing darts at a board with their rep distribution. Even the coaching staff couldn't give a solid answer. When Kevin Stefanski was asked about who might start, he looked like he was dodging bullets in the Matrix. Vague, cautious, and visibly unsure. It's clear the team wanted answers at QB, but no one was ready to give them. And Gabriel? He wasn't just chasing a starting spot. He was trying to prove he still deserved reps at all. But the bigger storm was just getting started, and it had nothing to do with a bad practice throw.
How did Dillon Gabriel look?
I would not be putting stock in Dillon Gabriel as a future quarterback of this team if I were Browns fans. I thought he was probably better today than he was yesterday.
Just as the Browns needed clarity at quarterback, Shedeur Sanders was suddenly ruled out with an oblique injury. The timing couldn't have been worse. Joint practices were in full swing. Preseason pressure was building, and now their most talked about rookie wasn't throwing. He was sidelined. Head coach Kevin Stefanski confirmed that while the injury wasn't major, it was serious enough to shut him down for a little bit. To no one's surprise, the coach stayed tight-lipped on details. Day-to-day became the phrase of the week, repeated like a broken record. But actions always speak louder than press conferences. And guess what? Shedeur wasn't sitting in the locker room. He was out there, suited up, pads on, walking the field, joking with teammates. If you didn't know better, you wouldn't think anything was wrong.
Dillon Gabriel?
Yes.
I'm Dillon. I'm motivating you. Here's how. This is a great opportunity for you.
That's what made this different. Most rookie QBs facing early injuries go dark, avoid cameras, disappear until cleared. But Shedeur? He stayed in the spotlight, almost refusing to shrink. And that wasn't by accident. Whether it was gamesmanship or mentality, he wasn't just healing. He was still setting the tone. But as the team braced for Saturday's game, Shedeur walked back into headlines. And not for anything on the field. Game day hadn't even started. But Shedeur Sanders had already taken control of the cameras. He wasn't walking into the stadium quietly with headphones, like most quarterbacks. Nah, he was flanked by teammates, boombox in hand, blasting his own music. His name, his track, his moment. And just like that, social media exploded. Some called it cocky. Others said it was the exact energy the Browns needed. But no matter which side people fell on, one thing was clear. Shedeur wasn't interested in being another silent rookie hoping for respect. He was walking in like a star before he'd thrown a single NFL pass. But here's what most people didn't know. The moment wasn't random. It was orchestrated. Behind the music and confidence was veteran cornerback Tony Brown, an 8-year NFL player who purposely blasted Shedeur's track, walking beside him like a bodyguard with a message. Don't dim your light. Brown later explained it all, from the powerful reason behind the boombox to the deeper mission he was on that day. And what started as a bold pregame entrance turned out to be rooted in something far more spiritual. What looked like a flashy entrance with a speaker and swagger was actually the end of a spiritual journey and the beginning of something symbolic. That boombox moment, it was connected to a deeper ritual, one that started thousands of miles away in Ghana. Tony Brown, the 8-year NFL vet who stood next to Shedeur that day, wasn't just making noise. He'd recently traveled to Ghana on a football-driven mission with teammate Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. While there, they visited Cape Coast, a haunting site tied to the transatlantic slave trade. It was there, walking barefoot through the sand, that Brown says something powerful happened. A staff, or scepter, washed up at his feet. Chiefs, elders, and locals told him it wasn't just driftwood. In their traditions, that kind of experience is rare and meaningful. He didn't call it a lucky stick. He carried it home. It became a spiritual object, one representing heritage, strength, and ancestral power. And on that game day, he brought it with him. That wasn't just support. That was ritual energy. Tony Brown said he wanted to shield Shedeur from outside noise and remind him he wasn't alone. That his confidence wasn't arrogance, it was legacy. But the moment didn't land with everyone the same. And soon, critics came for the entire vibe. When Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the field with a boombox blaring his own music, the backlash online was instant. People said he was being extra, arrogant, or trying to manufacture a superstar moment before earning it. They questioned his focus, his mindset, even his character. But just a few days later, a video of the Browns' offensive line dancing in the tunnel, full uniforms, cameras rolling, drew zero criticism. Not a headline, not a think piece, just laughs and retweets. So why the outrage for one and a pass for the other? Tony Brown asked the same thing. The same people accusing Shedeur of showboating stayed oddly quiet when other players were caught doing far more during pregame routines. It wasn't about noise. It was about who was making it. And that's what made this feel like more than football. When young black quarterbacks like Shedeur stand in confidence, it often gets mistaken for ego. But when others do it, it's passion, fun, team spirit. If the boombox walked out with anyone else, would people still be mad? Meanwhile, while the debates swirled around Shedeur, one person was feeling the heat in a completely different way: Dillon Gabriel. While all eyes were on Shedeur's swagger, Dillon Gabriel was quietly facing a storm of his own. And this one had nothing to do with music or media. Gabriel was supposed to be the safe pick, the reliable arm who could handle the job if Shedeur wasn't ready. But after a string of shaky practices, that narrative started to crack. One day, he goes 1 for 5. The next, 6 completions on 19 attempts. Sure, he tossed a couple touchdowns. But when you're throwing 31% completions in back-to-back days, no one's giving you a free pass. Even worse, the Browns seemed unsure if they even trusted him at all. Rep distribution was all over the place. Tyler Huntley didn't get meaningful snaps, and Gabriel He only had a handful. That's not enough to evaluate a quarterback, but it is enough to send a message. Some fans wondered out loud, were the coaches already losing confidence? And it's not just about stats. Unlike Shedeur, Gabriel didn't seem to have a clear wave of support behind him. Minimal buzz online, silence from the team, no booming entrances, just uncertainty. And if the Browns have doubts about both of their top QBs, then what exactly is the plan going forward? The Browns came into camp hoping for clarity at quarterback. Instead, they got chaos. Shedeur Sanders showed flashes of potential and the charisma of a franchise face, but now he's injured and caught in a media firestorm over boomboxes and confidence. Dillon Gabriel was painted as the steady fallback, and he's barely staying upright in practice. Add in Tyler Huntley, who's been all but invisible, and you've got a depth chart with a whole lot of names, but not a single obvious answer. And behind it all, head coach Kevin Stefanski squirming through press conferences, trying to stay calm while the team and the fan base clearly wants direction. But how do you build momentum when you don't even know who's starting next week? This quarterback situation doesn't just affect the depth chart. It's shaping the entire mood of the preseason. The offense looks sluggish. The camp has become a media circus, and fans are divided. Some want Shedeur's fire, others want Gabriel's experience, but no one's getting consistent performance from either. And with an intensely watched preseason game coming up, one snap could change everything or collapse it all. This was supposed to be a normal preseason. Evaluate talent, name a QB1, and move forward. Instead, the Browns have found themselves caught in a perfect storm of controversy, injuries, underperformance, and cultural collision. Shedeur Sanders brought energy, attention, and leadership, even while injured. But confidence like his doesn't come without blowback. One entrance with a boombox flipped the public narrative, and suddenly the focus wasn't on his football IQ, it was on his attitude. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel was supposed to slide under the radar and take control quietly. But after 2 straight rough practices and little visible support, he might be spiraling into question mark territory. And through it all, the Browns seem frozen, with fans watching, media buzzing, and no quarterback truly stepping up as the answer. The truth is, this isn't just about stats. It's about perception. In the NFL, how you carry yourself can matter just as much as how you throw the ball. One QB is getting criticized for too much personality, the other for not showing enough promise. But eventually, someone has to take control, because in Cleveland's quarterback battle, pressure isn't just coming from the defense, it's coming from the entire world watching. And with the most watched preseason game in over a decade already behind them, the next chapter could rewrite everything we think we know about who's really ready.